Hey, Las Vegas, thanks for joining us back here at Vegas Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show. And I'm Trish Williams.
And I'm Tiana Carroll.
All right, Tiana, today we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
We do, as we do every week, because we just like to talk.
We love to talk. We're going to have some news to get into. Our topic for today is going to be how to get your offers accepted in a very high demand market, which we are back in again. I can't believe it.
Because these numbers say that we are back in that seller's market, which means buyers are going to be at the mercy of sellers having multiple offers. And now we're going to help them figure out how to get those offers accepted.
Right. And two agents I've heard of over the last week on their listings had double-digit amounts of offers. So we're there again.
We're there again. And it's in different price points.
It is.
It's not just chilling in the new home or, you know.
I thought it would. I thought that when we seen the increase happen, I'm like, yeah, that's only under 300. And then I'm out shopping with somebody and 700, and there's multiple offers, and I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah. Well, I think it comes back to the numbers. So let's talk about those.
Yes.
Because again, you know, we do them every week, and our single family homes on the market this week are. I got the wrong day.
3384.
Thank you. 3384. I had last week's up because I was doing the comparison, and we have 3384 for sale this week. Last week we had 3,461, so we have just 77 houses less than we did last week. But what I thought was interesting were the solds.
They're up.
They are
a lot.
so up.
Yeah.
So last week we had 465 homes that had sold. This week we have 722 homes that have sold, so 257 homes more sold this week than last week.
And that's over 3,000. I've been saying for months that's my favorite number. So we are there. We're back to my favorite sold number.
Sold numbers.
Inventory dropping is definitely creating a supply and demand issue.
Totally.
Where, you know, there's just not a lot of homes for buyers to buy, so there's more than one offer on the homes that are available.
Yeah, and the competition out there is serious. There's a lot of buyers out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of buyers. I think that they've already said these rates are what these rates are, and I still want to buy before they get higher than this, because they can, and there's been speculation about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact of the matter is there's always a certain amount of people doing real estate business. Doesn't matter what market it's in. When the market crashed in '08, there was still billions of dollars in business that happened because people buy and sell regardless.
Right. And we've talked a little bit about this too, is the sellers that don't want to, they're not ready to sell because they're like, I just don't want to get out of my 3% rate into a 7% rate or wherever we're at today. And I get that, but there's also a time where people say, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it, but they still want to do it.
Right.
So there's a time where they just say, you know what, we're going to do it.
Or they just give in.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, I was just joking. I'm totally doing this.
That's one thing I've noticed about sellers, homeowners, even buyers. It's like the want never goes away. They're never just like, okay, never mind, I forget. But because you're talking about moving, it's a big change in your life. Moving is not just like, from here to there. It's bigger house, different lifestyle, different neighborhood, different area.
Location, different work commute, different school.
Yes, and the want never drops once you have it. It's kind of just a matter of when. And that's why when we talk to sellers, sometimes it's like, okay, if you were to move, where are you going to move, and when do you want to be there? And it may not be today, but there is that when that is always a factor.
Yeah, because it's always a seed sort of growing in the back of their mind. Ooh, if I lived here, I would have that, or I'd love an open floor plan, or I can't wait to have a big backyard or a home office.
Yeah, it's always a one day. Like one day I will be in Maui. But for right now, I'm in Vegas.
Well, we have international flights, and we also have flights directly to Hawaii right here from our Harry Reid Airport. So you can just get on a plane this afternoon and be in Maui.
Well, no, I mean permanently.
Oh.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Probably never going to happen. But let's see.
The desert girl is moving to an island. Okay. Well, good. At least I'll have somebody to stay with now that you'll be out there.
Come visit.
Yeah, I will too. I love it.
Yeah, probably never gonna happen. I don't see myself ever leaving the desert, really, and realistically.
But a vacation home, you're stacking those up all across the country. Might as well grab one in Maui.
In the plans.
Okay.
So we have some interesting news this week. There's been so much outrage about this FHFA thing, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and the fee structures, and everybody's heard about this. I get questions about it all the time. The better credit scores, higher down payments, going to get higher fees. There's a little bit of truth to that, but there's still like
everybody seems to be like, wait, I did good. I have the credit. Why am I being the one penalized?
Right. And then over 780, there was no penalty involved there, but it wasn't a penalty. It was like paying higher costs. So the people that had lower down payments and lower credit scores would have less cost. And there was this whole thing. Well, there's been outrage and people have been complaining, and FHFA canceled the fee changes thing for now.
Temporarily?
For now, they said, however, Sandra Thompson, who's the director, said that they will continue this valuable dialogue and we will see what's coming up next. So I don't think it's gone away. Don't celebrate. But it is definitely, there's too many people upset about it. They'll probably try to slip it under the rug somewhere later. That's what they do, right?
They'll fine tune, make a little change, slide it in, and be like, I hope nobody notices.
It needs a better marketing plan. Once it's
going to have a full-on TikTok campaign with the dance, and then everybody will be like, we love it.
Yeah. They have to think of a creative way to sell it to us. But for right now.
And they will.
They will. They always do. For right now, it's not happening immediately. Airbnb law update. Another thing. You know what I love about these articles?
What?
Someone's listening. Someone's listening to the complaints, the outrage, the letters.
Well, can you imagine the complaints that they have with the Airbnb laws in this town?
Yes.
I do not want to be answering those.
Yes, the Airbnb laws in this town are ridiculous.
Hey, hospitality. We got to protect our tax money, yo.
Yes, well, and that's true too. So I do understand that because that is such a big contributor to our city and our economy in the city.
Well, for the longest time, it was the only economy in this city. Obviously, that's changed over the years. We have sport, we have tech, we have a bunch of medical things coming in. So our economy is a little more diverse now, but it wasn't always. For the longest time, it was, hey, we're hospitality. We can't wait to serve you and take all your money.
Right, and some people think that that's how it should be, that Vegas should just be no Airbnbs. We have the casinos, they fund the city. But other people are saying, like, if Vegas does that, then all the other cities can do that, and then these big casino corporations are going to come in, and they're going to be making all the money, and who knows? So much to it, right? But for right now, there's been a lot of complaints, a lot of outrage, and they are re-reviewing the situation. Nothing's happening. They're just taking another look at everything for now. So we will see how that goes, how that update goes. And
so that's a good time to tell our awesome listeners out there to make sure that you like, share, subscribe, download, be a part of our community. We'd love to have you, and then we can keep you updated as these laws get refined.
Absolutely. And I don't know why I have so much news today, but it was a big news week.
All right. Well, what else you got over there? A whole notebook full of stuff.
Yeah. So, okay, if you know me, you know I'm not a sports fan, so please do not.
Don't come at her, folks.
Don't come at me for mangling this name because I'm probably not saying it right. But one of a hockey player, Max Pacioretty, maybe?
Okay, now you screwed me up. Pacioretty.
Okay, him. So he sold the most expensive home in the Ridges. It did recently sell at $11 million, 6-bedroom mansion. Realtor.com reported that home did sell, and that is the highest sell so far in the Ridges, which surprises me. The Ridges is very expensive. Well, not expensive.
Well, not expensive,
no.
And now we have other communities that are.
Well, Summit starts at like $10 million.
Yeah, so. Summit and Askaya.
Yeah.
And then now I don't know if Mesa Ridge is up that high yet. I don't think anything in there is that high.
I don't think
and
so.
Ascension's coming.
Yeah, and there's some spots in McDonald Highlands that some of the new construction there,
Dragon
8
Ridge
million,
and whatever.
Yeah, so it's kind of becoming a norm. We're getting a lot of Hollywood people.
Yeah, we have a really good luxury market here in Vegas. We got lots and lots of homes. Some of those homes are a little dated. All the new construction is super pricey, but super beautiful, modern desert.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got awesome stuff.
Back to the another article from the Review Journal, back talking about the casino owners. So there's a plan right now in place to close the real estate transfer tax loophole. It's called Assembly Bill 448. It's a measure that will require the real estate transfer tax to be paid even if the property is transferred to a business entity that was created to avoid the taxes.
They're like, gotcha, sucker.
Yeah.
You thought you were getting away with that.
Yeah, so that's
Dang it,
a thing.
I love a loophole.
Yeah, that's a thing. And it's I guess it's primarily, or it's a big part of it's in commercial. We see that a lot of times, though, even in just the little, the little residential houses or whatever. So there's
And the not so little residential houses.
well, yeah, no. So it was actually unanimously approved. So now the bill's headed to the Senate.
Okay.
So this may go through. Since 2007, big property owners and casinos have avoided over $27 million in transfer taxes with these little this transaction loophole that they are trying to close.
Yeah, well, that's a good little chunk of change to come back into the economy, but it's not a huge chunk of change considering we're the size city we are.
Yeah, I wonder if they made a deal. They're like, we'll do this, we'll close this loophole if you get rid of the Airbnb.
Right? They'll be like, listen, we'll pay that money just to have those suckers out of our business.
Right. So that that's happened. Our topic for today.
Here we go. Getting those offers accepted.
Yeah.
So this actually is going to be pretty good. We did something like this last year, and it works out well. You're a listing agent. I'm a buying agent. We sort of come from both sides of the coin.
Both sides of the transaction.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I was thinking about this yesterday, and that's I remember we did the show last year, and I think that things are a little bit better for buyers now than they were last year.
Well,
I haven't seen many appraisal rate waivers.
Right. So we're June of 23 now, and
Yes.
the market is different than it was last year, but same, but we're not as extreme as we were last year. Knock on wood yet, because that could all change. We just hitting June, we got about 35 days to really get summer wrapped up and all of those sales in, so we'll see what happens.
Right. So I think the first place to start is for buyers. Buyers will ask when they're making an offer on a property, what should I offer? Of course, you always want to offer less. I get it. I want to offer less too. But in a market of high demand, that can actually, it could cause your offer to never get responded to.
Yeah, well, so I always like to rewind back to the beginning of working with a buyer and transaction. One of the most important things of getting any offer accepted in any market is already having that financing piece in place. So when the offer is made, you don't have to fill out the contract saying we will apply for a loan within 2 days of acceptance.
Yeah.
It's already coming with the offer. So that, I think, is a good piece in the beginning. We do it in this valley, I have to say. Most agents do that right away. If you're new, or maybe you've worked with the client in the past or something, you're not so worried about them getting financing immediately. But for the most part, getting financing immediately is sort of the foundation of that offer.
Well, absolutely. And as a listing agent, if I have an offer come through where the buyer hasn't started on their pre-approval yet, I will present it to my seller, because that's what I have to do. But I'm also going to tell my seller this offer is just a piece of paper until we know if they're approved
capable
or not.
of buying.
Yeah, because so many people think that they are, and then they go for the pre-approval, and for whatever reason
yeah,
they're
buyers
not.
call me all the time, and they're like, "Hey, I want to buy $600,000 and this and that," and turns out they can buy $480,000.
Yeah.
So
Or
until we know what that budget is.
Yeah, or they talk to the lender, they find out the rates. There's so many things that they think going into it, it's going to be easy, but then once they talk to the lender, the whole story changes. That's why we ask for pre-approvals up front, is because it's so uncertain until you know that, until you've already had that conversation. Right. So yeah, from that point on, it's the price. That, you know, comps are good. Comps are important.
Comps are important
For us
not
to
so
run.
much in 22, but in the rest of the world, they were.
There were people not even running comps in 2022. They were
Did
like,
it
let's just see
matter?
what happens. Leave it to the appraiser.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'd waive the appraisal. So there's that.
Yep.
But no, the comps are important. But one thing to remember is we've hit in the last, because comps go back 6 months. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about appraisals on one of our other shows. It is that in the last 6 months we've been in like 3 markets.
Right, right.
So it's really, you can take those comps, but they're not the end all be all. And I heard an appraiser, you were with me at that meeting where the appraiser's like, we never say the A word, which is average.
Right.
But there's no other solution than that. Then we kind of have to average the difference between the comps and where they closed at. But it's also a thing of experience. You know, when I'm looking at comps, it's like, okay, yes, but this one closed in December. That's obviously a lower price than what the value is today, because
Right, because we were at the bottom of the market.
Yeah,
We were at the bottom of the crash.
we were at that was our crash. You missed it.
Well, yeah, when the market corrected itself from all of those overappraised value purchases, then October, November, December was our falling point. January it sort of leveled out, and then it started coming back up once we got closer to spring.
Right.
So you're right, we had multiple markets happening in that 6-month time frame, which then goes to the experience of the agent.
Yeah.
And we're looking at things like condition. We're going back and looking at those comps on sold prices. So maybe they were listed at, say, $500,000, but there was 20 grand in concessions from the seller to get people in those properties. So that house is really only $480,000.
Right. Or if it closed in January, it's like, okay, well, January was a little bit better, but that means it went into contract in December. So we're still, you know, you have to take all of that into consideration. There's so many factors. So there's times where I'm doing comps and they're like, well, this doesn't make sense because that one sold for that. And it's like, yeah, but you have to consider the markets.
Right, and it's just making sure that you're doing the research and you're looking at it not only from your realtor perspective, but from an appraisal perspective, buyer perspective, seller perspective. Like, what do these numbers mean and how are they going to affect what we're actually going to list the price for on your end or on my end offer?
Right. And and there's a desirability factor there too.
Totally.
Yeah. So all of that's one thing to take into consideration on when you're making your offer. There's homes out there. We don't see a lot of them, but there's homes out there that are crazy overpriced where you look at the comps and you're like, nope. This person's insane, and there are those people. I
just saw one over the weekend that was $100 grand over comps, and I was like, "Oh, I want whatever they have."
Yeah, and there's nothing.
They have the good stuff. They are so out of touch with reality.
Right, and there's nothing to justify it. You know, I mean, there's sometimes where there's something to justify, but there's some that you see where there's just no justification. They came in with an amount. I talked to an agent the other day on a home that was like that. That was we might be talking about the same home, but
was it Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spoke with the agent and I was like, well, you know, considering the condition and the comparables, this price doesn't look right to me, and my buyer's, you know, she's interested but not willing to go there. And he's like, yeah, you're right, and I know, but there's nothing I can do about it. They won't budge. I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's the world we live in.
Seller prerogative.
Yeah.
It's their house. If they don't want to sell it, they don't have to sell it, period.
Yeah.
If they're got high apple pie in the sky dreams and want this overpriced home to sell, who knows? Market might get desperate enough that they'll get it.
Yeah.
But I was in that home.
Yeah.
So I would not, if I was Unless I had a construction company that could rip out years of scent off of that drywall, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Some homes just need a match.
Now, but you know what? I'm making jokes. That's actually a good house.
Yeah.
It had good bones. It was a good lot, good community.
And that makes a difference.
Right.
And that makes a difference.
That's where the value was.
Yeah.
Not the condition.
Right. And another thing back to that home too is it was only on the market for 2 days.
Right.
So days on the market, when you're making offers, there's a factor there. You make an offer substantially under what they're asking, and it's only going to be on the market 2 days. You got to take yourself out of your buyer's shoes and put yourself in seller's shoes for a second. Are you going to take this without seeing at least how it's going to perform? Buyer may be right. The house might only be worth this much, and all buyers might only be willing to pay this much, but you don't know that 2 days in.
Right. And I think seller mindset is always like, oh, well, this is only the first offer.
Yeah.
And what else is there? But statistically, the first offer is
your
usually
best.
the highest and best.
Yes, and this is true, but sometimes even buyers are the same way there, where there's sometimes where buyers want to offer low or they want to ask for the moon, and that was okay. That was 100% okay last quarter. Or not last quarter, the last quarter of 2022.
Last quarter.
Last quarter. Last 2 quarters. Like we could ask for anything. Ask for the dog. Like it was okay. Sellers would be like, yes, just please buy the house. but now we're back in that market where if you ask for too much, they're like, no, there's another buyer. You know, so it's be careful. Be careful. But you know, there's times where when we're making offers or talking to buyers about writing offers, where I know, and it's just the way people work. Sometimes they have to try what their big dreams are and make that offer and see the response to know that you are right. That I mean, I'm not saying that they don't respect us or they don't value our opinion. But sometimes they have
follow
to
their heart and they want what they want. And when you're in those scenarios, you just have to let them shoot their shot and see, hey, we'll see if it works out.
Yeah, and there's times where I do that and I'm like, you know, let's give it a shot. I'll tell them my opinion and they say, no, I still want to do this. And I'm, okay, that's fine. I'm never going to like stop somebody from doing that.
Well, of course not.
Unless it's more than 3 times. That's my rule. I have a 3 times. If you do that 3 times, then we're going to have a heart-to-heart that says, you know, are you serious about this? Because at this point, you need to listen to me.
Right.
So
I mean, like, take my advice into consideration, please.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
Contingencies.
So this is always a great place to go ahead and get offers accepted. And I don't think sellers think about contingencies as much as agents and buyers would. But contingencies are there in our county, or in our city at least, is there to make sure that the buyers are protected. We have a very friendly buyer purchase agreement, and those contingencies can include anything from your appraisal, your loan contingency. It's all part of your due diligence, your CIC package, and I like to make those shorter if I'm in a fast-moving market, and make those days on market, not days on market, those due diligence contingencies as tight as possible. Drives my lenders a little bit crazy. I'm like, we're gonna work fast and hard, people.
Well, from the listing perspective, when you receive an offer, when I receive an offer that has, they want a 30-day loan contingency, and there's all these, these contingencies are just really long for everything. I'm like, oh, these buyers are going to drag their feet on every step of the way, because contingencies are all things that could potentially make a contract fall apart.
Right.
And the buyers have no repercussions because their EMD gets refunded. So we don't want to tighten those. I understand. I bought homes, and as buyers buying homes, they don't want to shorten those contingencies to a point where they're going to be backed into a corner.
Right.
But they do need them to be realistic. That's why as a buyer's agent, it's good that you talk to the lender, say, what can we do? And that's usually the conversation I'll have too, is like, how soon can you get that appraiser out there? How soon can you get out of underwriting? And let's make these days good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They need to be effective, efficient days. And I've got some amazing lenders in my sort of tribe of people that I work with fairly often. And I've got one lender who is like, give me 14 days and I can get that underwritten. I'm like, hell yeah, 14 days, let's do it. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, no, and that's good, and that's good, and that's always gonna, when that offer comes across to the listing agent's gonna tell his seller, like, we have a for sure sell. It's 99% at that point. After 14 days, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that offer looks good.
If we're talking about ways to help buyers get those offers listed, that's one of the things that I use in my arsenal is the lender that I'm working with. Because if my client comes to me, they have a pre-qual letter, I've talked to that lender, I know where they are in that process or whatever. I CC the lender on the offer when I send it to the list agent. I make sure and tell the lender, reach out to the list agent, answer any questions they have about this buyer. They need to know that we're strong, that we're serious, we can get this closed.
Yeah.
Because even cash offers fall out of contract, financed offers fall out of contract for a myriad of reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that the seller knows how serious of a buyer they have in this potential contract is persuasive in order for them to take that offer that we're making, especially in a competitive market.
Absolutely. And closing date.
Closing date.
Closing date matters. It's because real estate is one of those things where anything can go wrong and it's not official until it closes.
Right. There's no anything, no transfer of title, no money, no commissions, no anything until you're at a closed, recorded, and done.
Right. So doing those closing dates in a reasonable amount of time, there's times where buyers will come and they'll say, oh, my lease is up in 2 months. Can we do a 3-month close or 2-month close or whatever? It's like a super long closing dates. And one thing I explained to the buyers is that not only not benefits the seller, but and doesn't look good. It doesn't look strong because it's that much longer they have to drag out on whatever they're doing. Unless there's some scenarios where sellers prefer that, prefer longer because of their move situation. So it really, that depends.
So that comes down to my favorite way to get offers accepted is the realtor conversations.
Yeah.
When
finding out what they need.
Yeah, when I'm writing offers, not only do I have my ducks in a row with my lender, I've already educated my buyer on, what could happen. We're going to get countered, we're going to get rejected, or we're going to get accepted. What are we going to move forward? And finding out what their bottom line is on what they'd be willing to go up to if we got countered. But also getting my ducks in a row with the list agent, having those conversations. Hey, listen, my buyer really, really loves this house. We want to make something work. What does your buyer, or what does your seller need? How can we make it, a win-win for everybody? Find out from the list agent what that seller is looking for. Maybe they want the lease back. Maybe they want the quick close. Maybe they want the extended close. And that way you can structure your offer according to what benefits both parties. Yeah,
makes it a win-win because at the end of the day, win-win offers are the ones that make it.
Yeah.
I mean, our job really is to try to come together with the other agent, not fight with them.
Oh yeah, no, you want to be a team.
Yeah.
I have some clients that want me to be the bully and tear a list agent apart, and sometimes I have to, but not usually. Usually I want it to be very cohesive and butterflies and rainbows and happiness, and everybody gets what they want.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, that is a factor. And extending your closing date in this environment that we're in right now with rates being a factor, extending your closing date out longer, if you lock your rate and it goes past 30 days, on a lot of cases, there's a rate extension fee that gets added into your closing costs. So it actually costs the buyers more money that way.
Yep.
Or if the buyers are paying their closing costs, which right now we're back to not seeing sellers really paying closing costs.
We're not asking
anything.
for concessions on any of the offers that I'm writing now because that's just not the market we're in.
Yeah.
We can't rewind to November.
And one more thing I wanted to bring up is the home warranty. And home warranties are great. I 100% recommend you get a home warranty on your first year. You never know what can happen. I recommend them. I bought them on every home that I've ever purchased myself. So I practice what I preach there. I think it's a good plan. They're not perfect. They're not perfect. It's some form of resolution to if a problem arises. You know, your first year, you're kind of getting to know the house, so it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But home warranties, I highly recommend you get one, and you get better pricing when you buy it in the real estate transaction. But sometimes buyers will say, oh, I'll make a full price offer. I don't want any concessions. I'm going to ask for the home warranty, though. And there's multiple offers. And the thing I go back and say, which is fine, you want the seller to pay for that. That's because the buyer has the option to pay for it as well. You know, it's
Right.
we were talking
The agent has the opportunity to pay for it if they wanted to do it as a gift. It doesn't matter who pays for it.
Yeah, well, it's $700
Right.
is the average cost, and
For an annual.
Yeah, I've
policy.
rarely seen any like agents pay for it. I think there's like rules
Well,
on
I think that
commissions,
depends. Yeah.
and credits or whatever. So I don't know if that's something maybe that would be allowed by most brokers.
Oh, so we've split it before. So.
Oh, okay.
Were we not supposed to do that? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't know.
No, there's times that we've had to make contributions or whatever to get deals closed because it's just a few $100s, and in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
it's, you know, what it is. But yeah, when you're writing offers, it's how much the buyer actually wants the home. How can we convey that to the sellers so that way they know that we're really serious about this? And sometimes it'll be like, listen, don't ask for that extra $700 because the seller only cares about the bottom line. What am I walking away with? What's my money look like most of the time? Every now and then you'll get somebody who's thinking with their heart and they'll be like, oh, this couple's so cute. It's like when we bought this house, let's sell it to them. But for the most part, they're looking for their money. And so if you could help with transfer tax or pay for your own home warranty or pick up the slack a little bit so they're netting a little bit more, ultimately you're getting the home that you want and love, and that's the goal. So don't be so stingy with what you'd be willing to help the seller achieve their goal as well.
Right, and at the end of the day, it's if there were multiple offers and all offers were the same, and your offer was $500 to $700 less than the others, and everything else about your offer was good, contingency terms and everything, well, then you just lost the house basically over that small amount of money. And most buyers, if you put it to them that way, if you say, do you want to lose this home over $700? And they're going to say, no, that's ridiculous. Remember that when you're making the offer.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's lots more.
And that's the thing. Each individual contract is its own entity, its own life force. So you have to know what you're working with. And again, that comes from the value of the agents working on the transaction, making sure that they're communicating, that we all have the same goal, finding out what the motivations of both the buyer and seller are, seeing if we can come to terms. All that negotiation happens.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, if anybody wants to talk more about how to get their home, get their offer accepted, how to write the best offer, how do they get a hold of you?
You can give me a call or shoot me a text to 702-379-9948. That is my cell phone, and I'd be happy to sit down and have conversations to help you reach your goal. And if they wanted to talk to you, Trish, how did they get a hold of you?
You can call or text me, 702-308-2878. Trish Williams, best way to get a hold of me. And if you are watching
That's how I get a hold of you.
That's how you get a hold of me.
That's how I get a hold of you.
If you're watching our show, please like, comment, download, subscribe, tell your friends about it, and we will be here every week on Vegas Realty Check.
Yes, indeed. We'll see you next Thursday, Vegas. Have a great week.